dry and relentless Harmattan season, Aliya, a young and captivating girl, shared a humble abode with her brother Ali. Together, they toiled as local farmers, grappling with the distress of consistently poor harvests over the past 4 years. The looming threat of a food shortage haunted the village, casting a shadow over their lives. One fateful night, amidst the prevailing frustration, Ali turned to his sister with a determined gleam in his eye. "Let's venture to a barber fields and secure a harvest for ourselves," he suggested. Aliya's eyes widened with fear as she cautioned him about the dangers that awaited them on the journey, particularly the cursed Uku River, infested with malevolent spirits that had claimed lives and made people vanish. "Ali, it's been 3 years since Mama and Papa left us in the house and secretly headed for Ababa for a harvest, and never returned. Please stop this foolishness." Ali calmed her down and told her that he has a solid plan that can ensure their safe passage over the Uku River. "I have a charm that I've been told can guarantee our safe passage also," he lied. Ali knew about the evil that was in the Uku River, but he was willing to risk everything to get a harvest to sustain his sister, who was the only relation he had left, having lost their parents to the river. The Ababa Fields was a lush, enchanted land that was so fertile that it produced fruits and harvest for every type of crop within 3 weeks of planting. For this reason, there was great harvest all year round in the Ababa Fields. The only problem was whoever wanted to get the harvest had to cross the Uku Forbidden River. After much deliberation, Aliya reluctantly agreed to join her brother on this perilous journey. As dawn broke the next morning, the siblings embarked on their planned dangerous expedition. Under the cover of darkness, they approached the forbidding Uku River, discovering a floating raft left behind, likely by someone claimed by the spirits. Undeterred, they climbed onto the raft and began paddling towards the tantalizing fields on the other side. Soon they started hearing the most beautiful voice of a maiden singing to them. A low hum of chants and rhythmic sound that transcends the natural could be heard, but nobody was seen. Aliya called out, but no answer came forth. Instead, the voice grew stronger and pitched higher with its chants and hums. Aliya covered her ears, but when she turned to look at Ali, his eyes had turned white, and he was entranced. "Ali! Ali, wake up! Please wake up! I thought you said you had charms to help us in our passage! Ali! Ali!" The desperate girl kept yelling continuously to her entranced brother, who was totally unconscious of his environment. Then just in front of her, the head of a maiden emerged from the water slowly, with hair flowing, her adorned in seashells and ornaments, and beautiful beads around her neck. Her voice spoke like the flow of an ocean. Aliya had never seen a Mami Wata before, and she froze on the raft, holding on to her brother. "Beautiful girl, where are you heading?" Out of fear, Aliya kept quiet and refused to respond. But again she inquired, but this time her voice sounded with a powerful echo that rattled the waters and the raft Aliya was floating on. "I said, where are you heading?" Aliya panicked for a short while and then stammered in response. We are heading for the Ababa Fields. Our village is in starvation and people are beginning to die because of our poor farm yields. Please allow us to pass, and we promise we won't disturb your waters again." The Mami Wata smiled and drew closer to Aliya. "What is your name, pretty one?" "Aliya is my name," she responded. "I am Queen Fiona, and I own these waters. You see, my dear Aliya, I do not have any trouble with you. But you see this agile young man here? He is my prize. You can go over to the Ababa Fields as many times as you want, but I'll need you to hand him over. Ali is my only living relative. Please, I cannot let you have him." Okay, you know what? Let us turn back and I promise you won't see us anywhere near your river or any other river for that matter, Aliya pleaded. Oh, poor child, it doesn't work that way. But you really reject my offer of a trade. You cannot take my brother, Aliya interrupted. He's all I've got. You have already taken a lot of people from our village and killed them. When are you planning to stop? All we want is just to survive, but you keep taking and killing. You are mistaken, little one. All your people that have been taken on this river are all alive. Or I mean, most of them still are. But they are now slaves in my kingdom below. And there's no form of escape, as it is my necklaces that holds the secret to the entrance into my world. But since you are proving to be stubborn, I guess you leave me no option. Now enraged, Queen Fiona's countenance changed, and her once pleasant appearance was replaced by a vicious form. Sharp rows of teeth and eyes burning like fire. She charged towards the raft, revealing her massive tail. One hit from her tail shattered the raft in pieces. She blew winds from her mouth at Aliya as she struggled to swim, and a whirlpool started around her, revealing an opening to Queen Fiona's world. Aliya screamed and her voice pierced the silent night. Her voice echoed through the air as she fell through the spinning whirlpool beneath her and passed out. Aliya woke up inside a cage. She looked around to realize there were hundreds of similar cages around her, containing most of those that had gone missing over the years. Most of the prisoners were men and boys, exhausted and malnourished. What are you doing with all these people? Why am I here? Aliya screamed as she stared at Queen Fiona, who had returned to her beautiful-looking form once again. You are all my prisoners, my dear. I use all the men for whatever I want and whenever I want. As for the women, they are just a waste of time. They just remain here till they die off. Why are you keeping me alive then? Aliya asked. I need someone to talk to. It gets quite lonely down here sometimes, with my sisters all gone for their businesses. So I'll keep you for a few days. But if you give me any troubles, then I'll throw you into the cage like others under my spell. And here, I brought you roasted fish. Eat and regain some strength. Then she swam away. Not too far from her, Aliya saw a familiar face. Mama, is that you? She could recognize her mother, who was lying tired in one of the cages, not far from hers. Mama is your daughter, Aliya. We thought you were dead. But she wasn't getting any responses. Aliya, unable to eat her roasted fish, kept looking around for any means of escape she could find. Then she saw some crabs crawl out of the water by her cage and scurried around looking for food. Aliya threw a chunk of her fish at them, and both crabs gobbled the fish quickly. This made Aliya laugh, and she threw another and another. She continued until her plate was empty. Later that night, Aliya woke up to some cracks in her cage. She opened her eyes and in surprise saw the crabs she had fed earlier trying to open her cage. With one last try, the cover cracked, and the cage flung open. The crabs started leading her further into a tunnel inside the cavern, through some cages. Soon, Aliya could hear some sound coming from a part of the tunnel, and she hurriedly passed it. The crabs led her directly to the mermaid necklace that was lying on a rock. Aliya grabbed the necklace and started running out from the way she came. She got to where her cage was, and freed her mother and a few of the prisoners that were close to her cage and were strong enough to move. They all ran quietly, but in fear of getting caught by the mermaid. Aliya pointed the necklace to the wall of water, and a whirlpool opened up. She and the few people with her quickly went through the whirlpool, and the next moment they appeared by the riverbank of the Uku. In great haste, they all headed for the village. Screams and surprises came from different people who saw the prisoners returning, knowing they had been missing and declared dead years and months prior. Aliya's mother and father's disappearance was well known, and seeing her alive and back in the village sparked a lot of curiosity. The entire village huddled together, their faces filled with anticipation, as Aliya, her mother, and the other returnees unveiled a startling revelation that echoed through the gathering. With bated breath, they learned that the missing men from their community were not lost, but imprisoned by the mermaids in their elusive kingdom and used to pleasure themselves and work as slaves, till they eventually die out of exhaustion. Her mother painted a vivid picture of the mermaids' numerous kingdoms, detailing their haunting expeditions in packs, leaving the coven to fulfill mysterious purposes. The villagers were gripped by shock as they discovered the sinister fate of their loved ones, used as slaves by the mermaids, carrying out arduous tasks in the underwater realm. The revelation that the mermaids regularly sacrificed men, drinking their blood to maintain eternal youth and vigor, sent shivers down their spines. Fueled by a righteous anger and the pain of losing their kin, the villagers, a united force, resolved to take matters into their own hands. In a passionate assembly before the village chief, they brandished an array of weapons, spears, knives, forks, ready to wage war against the mermaids and rescue their imprisoned loved ones. War chants echoed through the air, and the atmosphere crackled with a palpable rage. The chief was in agreement with the angry people, but instructed them to have a 2-week-long training for all those who wished to volunteer to embark on this journey to save their loved ones. After a rowdy section and many arguments, the villagers agreed and decided to wait for another 2 weeks for proper training in the hands of the chief's army general. The training commenced and was very intense, with all the eligible youths and strong men within and from neighbouring villages volunteered to join forces for the training. The chief's army general drilled the youths with numerous fighting weapons and skills. They trained with spears for the first few days, swinging it with elegance and carefully, and how to aim at a target and strike accordingly. The ladies were not left out in this training, as they showed great talents and elegance in wielding the weapon. He trained them with arrows and bows. They trained aiming at distant objects and hitting. Among them was Aliya, who had lost her brother in their last expedition. Her main goal was to rescue her brother and possibly her father, who was taken along with her mother 3 years earlier. Aliya devoted her entire attention to the training and gave it her all. She trained from her heart and ensured to learn every weapon's use to the best of her abilities. They trained under the rain as well, and in the village river they practiced how to fight while running on the waters. Aliya was outstanding in her performance during the training, so good that she could stand off 3 men in combat. On several occasions, the general tested her with some of his best soldiers, and she fought valiantly and wielded the weapons with strength and precision. But amongst the villagers was a certain unruly fellow named Ahana, whose girlfriend had disappeared over 6 months ago. He was a selfish man and only cared about what belonged to him. After about a week of the training, Ahana decided to go rescue his girlfriend himself. He secretly went to the Uku River holding a sharp spear, stood on the shallow waters and screamed, calling on the mermaid and spirits to come to him. Soon enough, Queen Fiona emerged from the water and moved close to him. "How dare you disturb the peace of the river, young man?" He wasted no time, but engaged the mermaid to a deal. "Words have gotten to us that you are holding our villagers prisoners. I order you to return one of ours, my girlfriend Chi-Chi, to me now." "What are you giving in return for this Chi-Chi? And how did you know I was holding your people prisoner?" Queen Fiona asked him as she drew close to him. "If you give her to me, Then I'll tell you what the village plans to do to your world in a few days' time." Queen Fiona's countenance changed instantly on hearing Ahana's information. She remembered that one of her necklaces was missing, and for some reason she hadn't seen the girl she took along with her brother recently. Without another word, she swung on Ahana, grabbing him firmly as she dived into the water with him. Back in her kingdom, Queen Fiona and her two sisters taunted Ahana and tortured him to reveal everything that the village was planning to do. They tied him to a rock and flogged him with whips, pouring charms on him to intensify his pains as they flogged him. They tortured him so much that he spilled all the plans of the village against the Mermaid Kingdom. With this information, they decided to fortify themselves for the impending danger. Queen Fiona and her sisters controlled a small group of about 200 mermaids and mermans that have ruled these waters for centuries. An attack on her kingdom meant a form of damage to the bigger mermaid world. She therefore decided to reach out to the king of all mermaids, King Agamas. They took a trip to the Great Atlantic to meet King Agamas, the ruler of all the mermaids. His rulership spanned through endless waters in the Water Kingdom, and he controlled a large host of sea creatures and armies. Queen Fiona, his distant niece, had left the royal family in rebellion and formed her own sect in the regions of southern African waters. Now faced with danger, she hoped to gain his favor and reinforcement to withstand the impending threat to her kingdom. After Queen Fiona narrated everything to King Agamas, he rejected Queen Fiona with his armies and ordered her to release all the prisoners to the village to avert any form of attack on them. He also scolded her for being careless with her necklace, which was a portal to the kingdom. He told them to face their crisis in their way. Queen Fiona, feeling disappointed, raged in anger and went back with her sisters, resolved to prepare herself for whatever the humans came with. On returning, she assembled all her 200 mermaids and mermans under her rule, and all the sea creatures that were in her control, and formed a formidable army to withstand any attack. Back at the villagers grew restless when there was a cry from his home indicating the loss of Ahana. He kept talking about going to get Chi-Chi from the mermaids. I tried to discourage him, but he wouldn't listen to me, his mother said with tears in her eyes. The chief, army general of the village, knew they had been compromised since Ahana was likely taken alive. "We have to send the rest of the villagers to the neighboring village and launch an attack tomorrow," he told the chief, "or else all will be lost. If the enemies have forced information out of Ahana, they will have ample time to prepare and even attack us first." The following morning, just before the sun rose up in the horizon, the entire village army gathered at the far side of the Uku River, led by the army general and Aliya, who had become one of the best fighters during the course of the training. The village warriors stationed all around the riverbank in their hundreds. Over 50 canoes bobbed in the water, manned by fierce warriors ready to paddle closer and dive into the unknown once the portal was unleashed. Following the orders of the general, Aliya lifted the pendant and directed it toward the Uku River. A whirlpool materialized, starting slowly but swelling rapidly. Shock coursed through the crowd as the portal revealed its secrets. Some warriors instinctively retreated, fear palpable in the air. A war cry erupted from the colossal whirlpool on the other side, confirming their worst nightmare. Queen Fiona and her sisters led an army of mermaids, mermen, and nightmarish sea creatures. They emerged as though they had been anticipating Aliya's portal all along. Queen Fiona, her sisters and their kind, mounted on vicious sharks with over 80 fighters by her side, followed by vile and abominable creatures of the deep, as part of her dreadful army. Queen Fiona, rising above the rest, spoke with a voice that resonated through the waters. "Aliya, you dared to defy my kindness and hospitality. Now, not only will I claim your river, but I'll seize your lands as well. Today, your kind will be wiped out of these lands forever." With a powerful chant, the horde of mammalians charged toward the warrior villagers. It became clear to the villagers that they were not merely fighting to rescue their loved ones, but battling for the very survival of their race. "Hold your grounds, warriors!" yelled the general, firm hand clutching his weapon. "Archers, now!" A cloud of arrows was unleashed upon the sea creatures charging from the whirlpool, taking down a fraction of their numbers. The archers took 2 more shots, taking down 1/10 of the enemy forces, before first contact was made by the armies. The brave men and women of the village engaged in a fierce battle with mermaids, mermans, piranhas, sharks, giant eels with large teeth, and other creatures never seen before. Though the mermaids lacked legs, surprisingly, their arched tails provided them with thick muscles that powered them to move swiftly across land and leap high into the air to carry out attacks. They leaped through the air, unleashing deadly blows and attacks. Some were caught in arrows, nets, spears and blades, tearing them down in their rage. Queen Fiona and her horde hacked relentlessly through the village armies with various weapons and their claws. In return, the villagers matched all their attacks with equal might and force. Their straight 2 weeks of non-stop drilling was paying off massively. The battle raged for hours and hours, with blades cutting through flesh, limbs falling off, and bodies hitting the ground or shallow river at every turn. As the war raged on at the surface, another went on beneath the waves. Every warrior who went under the water was welcomed by one of Fiona's enchanted allies and swiftly cut down. Aliya and the general fought back to back, hacking down, impaling and dismembering creature after creature. He showed his outstanding strength raging through the horde and unleashing damage to the enemy forces, breaking their strongholds and paving the way for the village warriors to penetrate the enemy lines of defenses. Aliya, on her part, she fought with great tenacity, like she was built for war. Her strikes were deadly and fatal. Whoever or whatever survived her blows was left dead or incapacitated. Unknown to everyone, the enchanted mermaid's pendant in her possession had fueled her with unnatural strength. Aliya hacked down some of the enchanted sharks, faced and took down some mermaids and mermans. She also stood her ground with some of the nightmarish creatures in different times in the battle. She was in a blood rage mode, and by her hands, Fiona's army had suffered a great loss. Enchanted sharks and sea creatures attacked the canoes with warriors in them, unleashing their full glaring carnage. They destroyed a large number of the canoes due to their enormous sizes, leaving most of the men manning them either dead or sent underwater, for a kill-off by piranhas and other creatures that lurked below the water surface. The warriors' relentless zeal to defend humankind and their lands kept them fighting on. Energized by the ferocity and strength of Aliya, they rallied behind her and charged their way through Fiona's army. The mermaids fought with great skill, and with the help of their powerful tails, they cut down a great number of the village warriors. Cutting through their defenses with swords and claws, the mermaids obtained an upper hand for a moment as the clashes intensified. With a swift swing of their powerful tails, the mermaids dealt deadly blows on the men that caused an instant blackout. Casualties piled up on both sides, bodies littering the river and shore. Aliya, witnessing the devastation, felt guilt bubbling within. Her rage ignited, and she screamed as she charged toward Queen Fiona, who was knifing down some of the warriors in a close-range battle not too far from her. Aliya, faced with many obstacles, drew her double-pointed spear, spun swiftly through the crowd, hacking down several heads of sea creatures who were almost upon her. Kindled by her deep sense of regret, she channeled her frustration on the enemies and oppositions. In a moment of relentless clanging and clashing of blades, one of Fiona's sisters perished at the hands of the army general, as she was about to perform a surprise attack on a young fighter. Her loud shriek distracted the horde. Impaled by his powerful spear, the general held the mermaid up for all to see. Almost at the same instant, Aliya's sword drove through the heart of Fiona's other sister. This enraged Fiona to her very core, unleashing inner rage she had never accessed before. In an instant, she transformed into a more vicious nature, huge and towered above every of her kind. Charging towards the village warriors who were trying to maintain a formation with a swing of her powerful tail, she caused intense wreckage and destruction. Turning, she locked her eyes on Aliya, and with a voice that pierced through the battlefield, she yelled, "Aliya, my necklace won't protect you forever. Time to die." Warriors gave way as she leapt and charged towards the young warrior who braces herself with her spear for a final showdown. Aliya finally stood toe-to-toe with the enraged Fiona. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of their strength and determination. A battle between a determined warrior and a vengeful queen, fueled by an unrelenting fury. Aliya swiftly shifted sideways, narrowly missing the queen's charge, and then engaged the ferocious Fiona with several strikes. Their battle intensified with lightning sparkling around them. Fiona grabbed a spear and attempted several strikes at Aliya, but she cleverly evaded or blocked them all. The climax of their combat arrived when Fiona cunningly clawed off Aliya's necklace, exposing her vulnerability. Gripping the young warrior, Fiona raised her spear with a triumphant scream, poised to deliver a fatal finishing blow. Yet the impending strike was interrupted by the thundering resonance of a war horn from beyond. All eyes turned skyward as a colossal portal manifested above the waters, revealing King Agamus and his legions. A collective gasp swept through the warriors who, gripped by horror, tightened their grasp on their weapons. Agamus's commanding voice echoed through the expanse. "Stop!" Agamus's voice thundered through the air, silencing the chaos below. "This battle ends here." With a commanding presence and a wave of his hand, all the captive villagers from Fiona's prisons emerged from the depths of the water. Turning to Fiona, he declared, "You have brought shame upon our kind, Fiona. You will trouble these lands no more." Agamus promised the village that the mermaids would no longer pose a threat. Another wave of the hand from Agamus had Queen Fiona wrapped in chains. All of her troops and creatures, both dead or alive, were lifted off the grounds and waters and sucked into the portal behind King Agamus. Then he turned and went back into the portal just as he had come. A great victorious cry went up from the troop of surviving warriors as they just witnessed the liberation of their lands. The once tumultuous battlefield now fell into an eerie silence, the echoes of battle replaced by the lapping of waves against the shore. The villagers, exhausted yet victorious, looked towards the horizon, a newfound peace settling upon the once battleground. The released prisoners reunited with their loved ones, some in laughter and joy, while others grabbed the cold bodies of their loved ones from the battlefield and carried them back into the village for a befitting funeral. At last their freedom has come, but at a great price by their loved ones who choose to protect their lands. Aliya! Aliya! Ali screamed as he rushed with his father towards a young warrior who stood exhausted and tired on the battleground. The army general broke the silence. "The Ababa field is ours!" he yelled. Everyone responded with a loud, victorious cheer. Finally, the fields of endless food supply was theirs to enjoy in peace and harmony.